Some nights, the heart feels like it is standing at a distance, watching life move by, watching prayers drift upward, yet wondering if God feels far away. The day may have been full. Conversations, tasks, noise. But somewhere beneath it all, there is a quiet ache, a longing for something closer, for the sense of a hand resting gently over a weary heart, for the warmth of a presence that does not leave, does not rush, does not grow tired. There is a memory of times when God felt nearer, moments when worship flowed easily, when prayer came like breathing, when the soul felt wrapped in peace. But lately, the distance seems wider, thoughts scattered, distractions loud. The heart whispers in the quiet places, where did that closeness go? And is it possible to find it again? Take a slow, deep breath. Let the air slide gently into the chest. Hold it for a soft, quiet moment. Then let it drift out like a long sigh at the end of a long day. Let the shoulders loosen. Let the jaw unclench. Let the muscles around the eyes soften. Another slow breath. In and out, like waves touching the shore and returning again to the deep. If these stories bring you peace, take a moment to like this video. Subscribe for more nightly reflections, and share where you're listening from tonight. Your words and presence help keep this space warm and growing. Now, take another slow breath. Let's begin. The room is dim. A small lamp glows beside the bed, spreading soft light across the blankets and the quiet shapes of the night. Shadows gather gently in the corners, but they do not feel threatening. They feel like a shelter, a gentle curtain drawn around this tender moment. Outside, the world has slowed. Cars fade into the distance. Voices quiet. Doors close. Inside, only the soft sound of breathing remains. This is a small sanctuary, a place where the soul, tired from trying to be strong, can finally admit how much it longs to be held. In the stillness, an image begins to form. A narrow path lined with stones, winding between low hills at the edge of a village. Evening has settled there, the sky brushed with deep blue and the last faint traces of fading light. Along the path walks a lone figure, cloak drawn close against the cool air. Steps slow, thoughtful. This heart knows God is real, knows the stories, knows the promises. Yet the distance feels real too. Prayers spoken with lips that feel dry. Songs sung from a place that wishes it could feel more. There is faith, but there is also longing. Draw near to God. The words of the scripture whisper softly in memory, and He will draw near to you. The promise hovers like a lantern in the dusk. Not loud, not demanding, just present, glowing. An invitation laid gently across the path. The traveler pauses, feeling the ache of the day settle into tired shoulders. There were moments of distraction, moments of frustration, moments where impatience rose, where unkind thoughts lingered, moments where the heart turned inward, forgetting the one who had never turned away. Now, standing in the quiet of evening, the traveler feels both the weight of this and the longing to step closer. Not to earn love, not to impress God with effort, but simply to be near. Back in the quiet room, the listener rests deeper against the bed. The body begins to remember what it feels like to let go, to stop holding everything so tightly, to allow even unspoken worries to loosen their grip. The soul does not have to pretend here. Not with God. Not in this soft space between waking and sleep. Take another gentle breath. Let the air move in slowly. Let it leave even more slowly. Imagine the weight in the chest softening with every exhale. Imagine the thoughts that spin so quickly beginning to slow, like leaves settling onto still water, like dust falling through a shaft of lamplight until it reaches the floor and rests. On the evening path, the traveler lifts their eyes toward the darkening sky. Stars are beginning to appear, one by one. Each small light a quiet reminder that what seems far can still be present. The distance between earth and heaven feels wide, yet the stars are always there, constant, unshaken, waiting for the darkness to make them visible. Draw near. The words return like a gentle heartbeat, not as a command heavy with pressure, but as a loving invitation. Step toward me. Let the walls fall. Let the anger soften. Let the shame loosen its hold. Let the heart come honestly, as it is, not polished, not perfect, just real. Closer to the village. A small house flickers with lamplight. Its door stands slightly open. Warmth spills from within, carrying the scent of bread, the glow of fire, the sound of soft voices. Home. Safe. Welcoming. Steady. The traveler feels the pull of that warm doorway. The contrast between the cool, open path and the glow of shelter is unmistakable. The same contrast flickers in the soul of the listener now, between the restless thoughts that wander far, and the gentle nearness of God quietly waiting for the heart to turn. You are seen. Even in the distance you feel. You are loved. Even when the heart feels numb or distracted. You are held. Even when emotions do not rise to meet that truth. God's nearness is not a reward for perfect devotion. It is a promise. A quiet certainty that when the heart leans in, even a little, God leans closer still. Another slow breath. Let the body grow heavier against the bed. Let the fingers uncurl. Let the muscles around the neck soften. This is not a moment to strive. It is a moment to receive. To allow the possibility that God is already closer than the breath moving in and out of the lungs. That the only step needed right now is a soft turning of the heart. A quiet whisper, even without words, that says, "I want to be near you." On the path, the traveler takes a single step toward the lamplit house. It is small, but it is real. The distance between them and that warm doorway shortens, almost imperceptibly. Yet in the soul, something loosens. Hope stirs. The promise of James begins to glow brighter. Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you. The night deepens. The lamp in the little house burns steady. The traveler breathes and walks, one slow step at a time. And in the quiet room, the listener rests, breath slowing, heart softening, soul beginning to lean gently toward the one who has been near all along. The evening path grows softer as the traveler takes another slow step. The cool air settles gently around them, carrying the faint scent of olive leaves and distant hearth fire. Darkness has not fully taken the sky yet, but the light is fading into that tender in-between place where shadows lengthen and silence deepens. It is in this hush, this breath between day and night, that the traveler notices something stirring within. A faint whisper rising not from outside, but from the quiet center of the heart. A whisper that does not command, does not rush, simply calls. It is the whisper of God, not in thunder, not in spectacle, but in the soft pull of longing, in the gentle nudge that invites the soul to turn, to listen, to return. Not because God has moved far away, but because the heart has wandered, distracted, burdened, tired. And now, in the hush of this evening hour, something inside finally hears the invitation again. Draw near. Come closer. Let the distance fall away. Take a slow breath. Let the inhale rise gently, filling the lungs with soft, cool night air. Let the exhale fall even more slowly, releasing the weight of the day. Feel the shoulders loosen. Feel the mind begin to quiet. Feel the heart open just a little more. Another slow breath. Deep, unhurried. The traveler pauses along the stone-lined path. The whisper grows clearer, not in words, but in presence. A warmth brushing lightly against the edges of the soul. A sense that love is near, nearer than before, nearer than the traveler realized. As though God has been walking close by all along, just waiting for the heart to turn enough to notice. The sky deepens into shades of indigo. Stars brighten slowly, like tiny lamps being lit one by one. Each one feels like an echo, a small reminder of something the traveler has always known. That God is constant, patient, unmoved by the distance the heart sometimes feels, and always ready to lean close the moment the soul whispers yes. in the room where the listener rests. Breath drifts slower now. The body sinks deeper into softness. Thoughts loosen their grip. This whisper, this inner calling, gently rises here too. An invitation to let the heart rest in the presence of the one it longs for. Not through effort, not through perfection, but through openness. Simple, quiet openness. The traveler takes another step toward the lamplit house in the distance. The warmth spilling from its doorway glows brighter as darkness gathers around. A dog settles near its entrance, tail curled around its paws, watching the traveler approach. Someone inside moves past the window. Shadows shift. Light flickers. Life continues within. A reminder that God's nearness is not reserved for moments when everything feels perfect. It is present in ordinary spaces, in quiet evenings, in rooms lit by small lamps, in hearts that whisper desire more than certainty. Another slow breath. Let the inhale soften the chest. Let the exhale release the heaviness behind the ribs. Let the breath become a way of leaning closer to God. Not through words, but through stillness. Through each gentle exhale that says, "Here I am. I want to be near you." The traveler stops at a bend in the path. A pool of moonlight gathers across the stones. The whisper in the heart feels closer now, almost like a presence standing just behind the shoulder. Soft, steady, patient. The traveler does not turn. There is no fear, only awareness. A realization that God is not calling from some far-off place, but from within the very quiet the traveler is learning to trust. "You are not far from me," the whisper seems to say. "You have only to turn, only to breathe, only to open, and you will find that I have been near all along." The path curves gently, leading upward toward the hill that overlooks the small house. The traveler begins the ascent, feeling a pull that is not physical, a draw deeper than muscle or bone, a movement of the spirit, a return, a soft surrender. In the dim bedroom, the listener's breath becomes even slower, even calmer. The whisper touches the edges of the soul here too. A gentle reassurance that God responds to even the smallest step, even the slightest turning of the heart, even the quiet longing that feels too fragile to name. God draws near. Not because the heart has achieved anything, but because it has leaned. It has listened. It has begun its slow walk toward the light. The traveler reaches the top of the hill. The lamplit house glows warmly below, and the whisper, soft, steady, unmistakably loving, echoes once more within the quiet of the traveler's soul. Draw near. Come closer. I am already on my way toward you. The traveler stands at the crest of the hill. Cool evening air brushes against their face. The path behind them stretches into shadow. The lamplit house below glows softly like a heart made of warm embers. And within the traveler's chest, something stirs. Not loud, not forceful, but honest. A quiet truth rising to the surface after being carried for too long. The whisper of God has drawn near. And now, the traveler feels a gentle pull to respond. Not with grand gestures, not with eloquent words, but with simple honesty, a willingness to bring the heart as it is. Not polished, not perfected, just real. This is where nearness begins. In the soft courage to stand in the quiet and let the truth rise. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the inhale rise like a calm tide returning to shore. Let the exhale fall longer, softer, releasing what the day has held. Let the shoulders ease. Let the thoughts slow their spinning. Let the breath guide the soul toward openness. Another slow breath. Steady. Peaceful. The traveler steps down from the hilltop and pauses beside a smooth stone half buried in the earth. The moonlight touches it gently, illuminating a small pool of water gathered from an earlier rain. The traveler kneels, looks into the water, and sees a reflection shaped by many things. Weariness, moments of frustration, lingering guilt from words spoken too sharply, regret from times when the heart turned away rather than toward God. All the small shadows the traveler hoped God might overlook. All the imperfections the heart feared were too much. But the water does not distort. It simply reflects. And in that reflection, the traveler sees a soul longing for closeness. A heart tired of feeling far away. A life that yearns for something deeper, purer, gentler. Honesty rises like a soft tide. The traveler bows their head, not out of shame, but out of surrender, out of the quiet understanding that God does not draw near to those who pretend. God draws near to those who are willing to be seen. In the room where the listener rests, this moment echoes tenderly. The breath deepens. The chest softens. The heart loosens its guarded places. There is a recognition that drawing near to God begins not with perfection, but with honesty, with allowing the weight of the day to be acknowledged, with letting the heart whisper truths it has been carrying alone, even if they are quiet, even if they are small, even if they come out as a sigh more than a prayer. Another slow breath. Let the inhale fill gently. Let the exhale release tension from the neck, the jaw, the back. Let truth rise softly within. Let the soul rest in the knowledge that God meets honesty with tenderness, not distance. The traveler touches the surface of the small pool. Ripples spread outward, distorting the reflection for a moment, then slowly settling again. Just as the heart settles when honesty is spoken inwardly, just as peace returns after the soul finally admits what it feels. The traveler rises and continues down the hill. The path slopes gently, guiding them toward the lamplit house below. With each step, something inside lightens. The burden of pretending grows smaller. The weight of hidden thoughts begins to lift. The heart feels less cluttered, more open, more ready to be near the one who waits. The cool air carries the faint scent of baking bread, a comforting aroma that fills the traveler with warmth, a memory of home, of childhood, of evenings when love felt close enough to touch. The sight of the house draws nearer, its glow steady, welcoming, patient. God's presence feels the same, not demanding, not distant, but waiting, open, ready to meet the traveler in their honesty. In the quiet bedroom, the listener's breath slows even more. The body softens deeper into comfort. The heart leans gently toward God, knowing that this is a safe space to be unguarded, to let truth rise without fear, to draw near not with performance, but with sincerity, with humility, with calm, with a heart willing to be held. Another slow breath. Let it rise through the ribs. Let it fall like twilight drifting over peaceful fields. Feel rest settling deeper. Feel the soul leaning closer to the soft promise of James. Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you. The traveler reaches the edge of the path where small lanterns hang from wooden posts, lighting the final stretch toward the house. Their glow flickers gently in the night breeze, like small reminders that even the faintest steps of honesty light the way back to God. The traveler pauses, hand resting over the chest, feeling the slow rhythm of a heart that is finally telling the truth, finally turning inward, finally drawing near. The traveler pauses at the lantern-lit stretch of the path. A soft breeze carries the scent of damp earth and distant water. The night feels gentle, hushed, almost sacred, as though creation itself is holding its breath, waiting for the heart to take the next quiet step. The traveler's hands rest loosely at their sides, fingers uncurling after a long day of holding tension. Honesty has softened something inside. And now, another movement begins. A cleansing, a washing away of the dust gathered by the soul as it wandered through worry, distraction, regret. Not a harsh cleansing, not a scolding one, but a gentle one, like water running over tired hands after long hours of work. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the inhale flow in like cool spring water filling a quiet pool. Let the exhale drift out like a soft stream slipping over smooth stones. Feel the chest loosen. Feel the belly soften. Let the breath become a gentle cleansing in itself. Another slow breath. Warm. Steady. The traveler approaches a small well beside the path. Its stones worn smooth from years of hands resting on their edges. A wooden bucket sits beside it, still damp from earlier use. Moonlight glitters faintly on the rim of the water far below. The traveler leans over. The surface reflects a soft glow of stars, swirling slightly with the breath of the night. The water seems to speak without sound, inviting the traveler to draw near, to let the heart be washed, not by ritual, but by presence, by the gentle nearness of God who cleanses not through force, but through love. The traveler dips their hands into the cool water. A shiver of relief moves up the arms. The water slides along the skin, carrying away dust, heat, and the small burdens clinging to the day. The traveler lifts their hands, watching droplets fall back into the well, each one catching a glimmer of starlight. A simple act, but it feels like releasing old weight, like letting go of thoughts that lingered too long, like saying without words, I want to be clean again. I want to feel close again. In the quiet bedroom, the listener's breath deepens. The heart begins to feel lighter, as though something warm is washing through the soul. There is no rush, no urgency, just the gentle realization that drawing near to God often begins with letting the heart be cleansed of what has clung to it. The worries that wrapped too tightly, the irritations that stayed too long, the guilt carried quietly, all of them loosen in this tender moment, falling away like dust carried off by water. Another slow breath. Let the inhale rise smoothly through the chest. Let the exhale fall with soft release. Let the breath feel like a warm stream washing the inner places. Let the soul ease into this cleansing calm. The traveler lowers the bucket into the well. The rope creaks softly. The sound echoes gently against the stone walls. When the bucket returns, filled with cool water, the traveler pours some over their hands, then splashes a little over their face. The water is refreshing, not shocking, just cool enough to awaken the soul from its heaviness. The traveler lifts their face toward the night sky, feeling droplets slide down the cheeks, carrying away dust, fatigue, and the lingering shadows of the day. This simple washing becomes a prayer, a letting go, a returning, a quiet offering of the heart to God, not with eloquent speech, but with open hands, with cleansing water, with humility, in the room where the listener rests. This moment echoes gently across the heart. The breath settles into a calmer rhythm. The mind begins to release what it held too tightly. Regrets soften. Worries lose their sharpness. The soul feels rinsed by peace, as though God Himself is washing away the weight of the day, making space for closeness to arrive. The traveler sets the bucket gently onto the ground. Hands now clean, cool, renewed. The path ahead seems clearer, not because the night has grown brighter, but because the heart has. The light within feels steadier now, less burdened, more ready to walk toward the one who waits. Another slow breath. Let it rise. Let it fall. Let it cleanse. Let it open the heart wider to God's nearness. The traveler steps away from the well and returns to the path. The warm glow of the lamplit house feels closer with each movement. The air hums softly with the presence of God. A presence that cleanses gently, quietly, faithfully. This is how the heart draws near, by letting the soul be washed in stillness, in truth, in quiet surrender, in the soft water of God's love. The traveler walks slowly from the well. Cool droplets still cling to their skin, each one catching the soft moonlight as it slides down the wrists. A gentle freshness lingers in every step, as though the act of cleansing has lightened more than the hands. It has softened the heart, cleared the mind, quieted the space within where God's presence has always waited. Ahead, the lamplit house glows more warmly now, its doorway no longer a distant flicker, but a steady beacon calling the traveler gently onward. The light does not demand. It simply shines, a quiet symbol of the nearness God offers, waiting for the heart to turn toward it fully, to allow longing to become movement, to let desire become a step toward light, a step toward warmth, a step toward the God who has already drawn near. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the inhale rise like dawn light spreading gently across a sleeping hillside. Let the exhale fall like a soft curtain drifting over the end of day. Feel the ribs expand. Feel the shoulders melt. Feel the heart open with the simplicity of breath. Another slow breath. Unhurried. Warm. The traveler pauses by a low stone wall bordering the path. Beyond it lies a small grove of olive trees, their silver leaves shimmering softly beneath the moon. The traveler rests a hand on the cool stone. The stillness of the grove settles into their soul. Here, at the edge of movement and rest, something shifts gently inside. Longing has been carried for so long it almost felt like part of the traveler's identity. Longing for peace. Longing for closeness. Longing to feel God near again. But now, in the hush of this evening, longing turns, transforms, begins its movement toward the light. The traveler lifts their gaze to the glowing doorway, and for the first time, takes a step not out of duty, not out of fear, but out of desire. A simple desire for closeness, for warmth, for God. In the quiet bedroom, the listener's breath deepens. The heart softens with recognition. This is what it feels like when longing begins to shift, when the soul stops standing still at a distance, and starts to move gently toward the one who whispers, "Come." Another slow breath. Let the inhale soften the inner walls of the heart. Let the exhale loosen the space around the soul. Let longing move. Slowly, naturally, tenderly. The traveler continues down the path. The evening breeze brushes their face, carrying the faint sound of laughter from somewhere deeper in the village. Life continues. Moments pass. But the traveler's heart feels lifted, cradled, as though every step is watched, as though every movement toward the light is met with divine attention. The path widens slightly as it enters the village outskirts. Small clay homes nestle close together. Lanterns hang from wooden beams, casting soft, amber glows onto the ground. The warmth feels inviting, almost familiar, as though this place has been waiting for the traveler for a long time. The traveler slows near a cluster of lavender bushes. Their fragrance floats gently through the air, calming, soothing, grounding. The traveler inhales the scent, and something inside settles fully. Longing has now become direction. Desire has become step. The heart tilts toward God the way flowers turn toward the sun. Not by force, but by instinct. By the quiet recognition of where life is found. In the room where the listener rests, the same shift unfolds. The breath carries longing into release. The soul leans into God without trying, without effort, simply moving toward warmth, toward peace, toward the presence that meets every small turning of the heart. Another slow breath. Let it rise like a gentle tide. Let it fall like warm twilight drifting over quiet hills. Let longing soften. Let movement begin. Let the soul tilt toward God as naturally as the traveler moves toward the lamplit house. The traveler approaches a small fountain at the village's edge. Water trickles softly from a carved stone bowl. Its sound is gentle, rhythmic, like a heartbeat in the quiet. The traveler stops, closes the eyes, listens, and in the sound of the water, hears something deeper, a truth forming in the quiet spaces of the soul. Drawing near to God is not a task, not a performance, not a mountain to climb. It is a turning, a soft pivot of the heart. The moment longing becomes movement. The moment desire becomes step. The moment the soul says, "Here I come." The traveler opens their eyes, and the lamplit house feels closer than ever. Just a little farther down the path, just beyond a cluster of olive branches. Its warm glow waiting like an open embrace. This is the moment the heart turns toward the light. The moment closeness becomes possible. The moment the soul whispers yes. The traveler steps beyond the quiet fountain. The soft trickle of water fades behind them, blending into the calm hum of evening. Ahead, the path curves gently between the first homes of the village. Clay walls tinted gold by lantern light. Rooftops outlined softly against the deepening night sky. Everything feels warm here, settled, peaceful, as though this village rests within the gentle hands of God, and the traveler is being welcomed home after a long, wandering season. The path beneath the traveler's feet is smooth from years of footsteps. Generations have walked this way, carrying burdens, carrying joy, carrying prayers whispered into the evening air. And now the traveler joins them, carrying longing that has begun to move, carrying a heart turned toward the light, carrying the first quiet courage of drawing near. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the inhale rise gently through the chest. Let the exhale fall even slower, softening the spine, the shoulders, the space behind the eyes. Feel the breath steady. Feel the thoughts loosen. Feel the soul settle into the gentle rhythm of evening. Another slow breath. Warm, deep. The traveler passes a small window where lamplight glows behind thin fabric. Inside, a family gathers around a low table, their laughter soft, unhurried, familiar. The traveler watches for a moment, not with envy, but with a tender warmth rising in the heart, a reminder of what it feels like to be held, what it feels like to belong, what it feels like when God feels near. The path continues through the village, past a wooden bench worn smooth by years of evening conversations, past a cluster of clay pots filled with rosemary and thyme. Their fragrance lifts gently into the air, soothing the traveler's tired spirit. Past an old olive press, quiet now, resting for the night. Each scene hums with the same soft truth: God is present in the ordinary, in the familiar, in the quiet places where life unfolds without hurry. And as the traveler moves through this peaceful village, something deep in the soul begins to settle. This journey toward God does not feel like climbing anymore. It feels like returning, like walking a path the heart somehow remembers, a path that always leads home. In the quiet bedroom, the listener's breath deepens again. The body grows heavier against the comfort beneath it. Thoughts drift more slowly. This path becomes their path, a gentle return, a coming home to the one who has never moved far away, the one who waits in every moment of turning, in every small step of desire, in every quiet breath that whispers, "I want to be near you." Another slow breath. Let the inhale bring warmth to the chest. Let the exhale soften everything that still feels tense or guarded. Feel the heart move closer to God with each quiet release. The traveler approaches the heart of the village. A small square rests there, paved with smooth stones that glimmer faintly under lantern light. At its center stands a simple wooden table where bread has been left to cool. Its aroma fills the air. Warm, comforting, familiar. The traveler pauses beside it, breathes in the scent, and feels the chest warm with quiet gratitude. Sometimes drawing near to God feels like kneeling in prayer. Sometimes it feels like singing in worship. But sometimes it feels like this: standing beside a table of fresh bread under a quiet sky, where the soul remembers it is fed, remembered, loved. The traveler continues, hands brushing lightly along the edges of warm clay walls, feeling the texture beneath the fingertips, feeling connected to something ancient, something steady, something that has held generations of faith before them. The lamplit house they saw from the hill now sits just ahead, its doorway open, spilling warmth onto the stone path. The glow flickers gently, as though greeting the traveler, inviting them closer, welcoming them into the nearness they have longed for. In the room where the listener rests, a similar warmth begins to glow within the chest, a soft spreading calm, a sense of being led home, not by force, but by love, by gentle invitation, by the promise that God draws near to those who take even the smallest step toward Him. Another slow breath. Let it rise like a welcome. Let it fall like the easing of an old ache finally fading. Let the soul rest in this moment of quiet returning. The traveler steps onto the final stretch of the path. The doorway just ahead, glowing like a promise kept. Somewhere deep within, a truth settles fully. This is not a journey of earning. It is a journey of returning. A path leading the heart back to the God who has always been near, always watching, always waiting, always ready to embrace the one who draws near. The traveler slows as they approach the lamplit doorway. Warm light spills across the stone path, pulling gently at the edges of the heart, inviting, welcoming, steady. The doorway glows not with urgency, but with patience, with the quiet assurance that inside this place, something sacred waits. Not a task to complete, not a judgment to face, but a presence, soft, steady, tender, a presence that has been waiting for the traveler far longer than the traveler has been seeking it. The air shifts as the traveler pauses beneath the wooden beam overhead. The scent of warm bread drifts from within. A faint crackling sound hums from a small fire. The shadows inside move gently across the walls. Everything radiates calm. Everything whispers welcome. Everything feels like the hush before an embrace. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the inhale rise gently through the ribs, holding the warmth for a moment. Let the exhale fall slowly, releasing tension that clings to the heart. Feel the breath become softer. Feel the limbs grow heavier. Feel the soul settle into the stillness of evening. Another slow breath. Quiet, unhurried. The traveler does not enter immediately. Instead, they rest their hand against the wooden frame of the doorway. The wood is warm from the lantern's glow, smooth from countless hands that have passed through this threshold. This is a place where many have come to rest, to be renewed, to draw near to something holy. And now, the traveler stands among them, heart open, breath soft, soul listening. Inside the house, a soft stillness rests over everything. A woven mat lies near the hearth. A clay cup sits half-filled beside a folded cloth. A chair rests slightly turned as though someone rose from it just moments ago. Not abruptly, but gently, leaving space for whoever would come next. In the quiet bedroom, the listener's body mirrors the traveler's stillness. Breath deepening, muscles loosening, heart opening layer by layer. This is the stillness where God waits. Not far, not hidden, but close enough to feel when the world grows quiet. Another slow breath. Let the inhale rise like warm lamplight filling a small room. Let the exhale fall like a soft curtain drawn across the mind. Let the breath make space for the presence already near. The traveler steps just inside the doorway. The sound of their footfall is soft on the warm clay floor. The quiet of the room deepens around them. Not empty. Filled. Filled with peace. Filled with a presence that needs no name to be felt. It is in the air, in the warmth of the fire, in the hush that settles like a blanket across the soul. The traveler kneels near the hearth, hands resting gently on their lap, eyes closing as breath settles into slow, steady rhythm.
A moment passes.
Not rushed. Not measured, just lived in stillness. And in that stillness, God draws near. Not with fanfare, not with blazing light, but with quiet, with warmth, with a presence that feels like a hand resting gently over the heart. A presence that fills the air with something too deep to name, yet unmistakable. In the quiet room where the listener rests, a similar nearness unfolds. An inward warmth rises, a calm that feels deeper than thought. The soft awareness of not being alone, not in the breath, not in the silence, not in the vulnerability of this moment. Another slow breath. Let the inhale draw in peace. Let the exhale release the ache of feeling far away. Let the whole body rest in the stillness of divine nearness. The traveler lifts their head slightly, eyes still closed, sensing the quiet presence surrounding them. It is subtle, yet full, like the glow of embers beneath a fire, like warmth radiating from a stone long after the sun has set. Nearness that is not loud, nearness that does not overwhelm, nearness that holds. This is where God waits. Not in the noise, not in the striving, but in the stillness. The quiet place where breath slows, where the heart softens, where the soul finally says, I am here, and hears in return. So am I. The traveler's eyes open slowly. The room glows gently around them. The nearness remains. Steady, tender, unmoved. The traveler remains kneeling near the warm hearth. Their breath slow, deep, unhurried. The room holds a quiet that feels almost alive. A stillness that gathers like soft mist around the heart, inviting it to loosen, to unfold. to rest. The warmth from the small fire spreads gently across the clay floor. It reaches the traveler's hands, their knees, their chest, softening the places where worry once clung, warming the places where the soul felt cold or distant. This room, simple as it is, feels like a sanctuary, a place where heaviness can melt without being spoken aloud, a place where the weary soul is allowed to exhale. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the inhale rise as though it is being drawn from a quiet well of stillness. Let the exhale fall like warm air drifting from the mouth of a pottery kiln. Soft, steady. Feel the shoulders release. Feel the neck lengthen. Feel the heart soften into this gentler rhythm. Another slow breath. Deeper now. The traveler opens their eyes and looks around the small, lamplit room. Clay jars line a wooden shelf. A folded blanket sits neatly beside a woven mat. Each object seems touched by care, placed with intention, cared for with gentle hands. Nothing here is extravagant, but everything feels warm, welcoming, familiar. A reminder that God often meets the weary not in grand temples or towering mountains, but in simple spaces where the heart can breathe. The traveler exhales softly, and in that breath, something loosens inside. A feeling the traveler had been carrying without noticing. A quiet sense of inadequacy, unworthiness, fear of not being enough for God to draw near. Fear that the distance was somehow their fault. That closeness was something they had failed to maintain. But in this room, in this tender stillness, that fear begins to dissolve. Not through words, not through explanation, but through presence. The simple, steady presence of God that fills the air like warm lamplight. In the quiet bedroom, the listener's breath deepens. The chest softens. The mind unwinds from its tightness. There is a slow unfolding, a gentle easing of the soul's clenched places. This is the softening of a weary soul. The moment when the body remembers it is safe. The heart remembers it is loved. And the mind remembers it does not have to carry everything alone. Another slow breath. Let the inhale gather warmth around the heart. Let the exhale release the old fear that God feels far away because you have failed. Nearness is not earned by performance. It is received by surrender, by allowing the heart to soften, by letting the soul rest. The traveler lowers onto the woven mat near the hearth. The warmth from the fire wraps around them like a gentle shawl. Their hands relax fully, resting open on their lap. Open hands, open heart, open soul. A posture of honesty, a posture of readiness, a posture that says without speaking, I am tired. I need you. I want to be close again. And in that openness, the presence of God seems to draw even nearer. A soft hush settles over the traveler's shoulders. A warmth spreads through the center of the chest. Not overwhelming. Not dazzling. Just tender. Enough to make tears gather quietly without falling. Enough to make the soul feel held. In the quiet room where the listener rests, a similar warmth begins to fill the body. The breath grows quieter. The muscles melt further into comfort. The heart softens with a deep inward sigh. This is the moment when God comes close to the weary, not demanding energy, not asking for words, simply offering nearness, simply offering rest. The traveler closes their eyes again, leaning slightly closer to the hearth, feeling the comfort of heat, the embrace of silence, the nearness of God who does not hurry the heart, who allows it to soften at its own pace, who waits for the soul to unfold like a slow-blooming flower at dusk. This softening is holy. This loosening is sacred. This rest is an act of worship in itself. For it is here, in this gentle quiet, that the heart becomes ready to feel God draw close. The fire crackles softly in the quiet room. A warm glow pulses along the clay walls, rising and falling like a slow, calming breath. The traveler remains seated on the woven mat, eyes closed, hands resting loosely in their lap. The stillness that fills the space feels deeper now, more intimate, more alive, as though the air itself is waiting, holding, preparing the heart for something tender. The traveler inhales, a slow, steady breath, and in that breath, something shifts. A subtle warmth brushes across the edge of their awareness, soft as a hand reaching quietly toward them, gentle as evening light settling on a field. This touch is faint, but unmistakable, a quiet sign that the one they seek is drawing near. For a moment, the traveler hesitates, not out of fear, but out of awe, out of surprise that nearness could be felt this softly, this delicately, this lovingly. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the inhale rise like a warm tide washing over the chest. Let the exhale fall like a gentle breeze moving through olive branches at dusk. Feel the breath slow deeper. Feel the body grow heavier. Feel the heart open just a little more. Another slow breath. Peaceful. Tender. The traveler lifts their head slightly, eyes still closed, feeling that warmth settle across their shoulders. A presence that does not push or demand. A presence that simply is. Steady. Patient. Near. God is here. Not distant. Not waiting behind tasks or perfection. Not requiring the traveler to climb mountains of effort. God is here. Because the heart has turned. Because desire has awakened. Because longing has become a soft whisper of yes. The warmth deepens, moving gently across the traveler's back, along the arms, into the hands resting open on their lap, It feels like light, like the first touch of sunrise over a quiet valley, like the soft weight of a blanket pulled gently over someone who has finally stopped fighting sleep. In the quiet bedroom, the listener's breath mirrors the traveler's. Slow, deep, drifting into warmth. A faint tingling spreads through the chest. The heaviness behind the eyes begins to fade. This moment feels like a soft hand placed lovingly over the heart. A reassurance. A gentle whisper that says, "I am near. Closer than your thoughts. Closer than your breath." Another slow breath. Let the inhale pull that warmth inward. Let the exhale release the thin veil of distance the heart once felt. Let the soul recognize nearness without needing to see it, without needing proof beyond peace itself. The traveler opens their eyes slowly. The lamplit room seems brighter, not because the flame has grown, but because the traveler has. Their vision feels softer, colors warmer, shadows gentler, everything touched by the quiet radiance of a divine presence settling in. The traveler rises from the mat and steps toward the small wooden table near the wall. On it rests a clay cup and a folded cloth. Simple objects, but they feel significant now, almost sacred, as though God's presence fills not only the room, but the spaces between the traveler's fingertips, between their breaths, between their thoughts. A gentle warmth gathers behind the traveler, the kind that makes the breath catch slightly, as though a loving presence has drawn close enough to feel, close enough to sense without seeing, close enough to rest in. The traveler's eyes soften. A small, quiet tear forms, not from sadness, from relief, from the experience of being met, being noticed, being embraced without a single word spoken. In the quiet bedroom, the listener feels a similar stirring, a warmth blooming deep within, a soft pressure across the chest, a faint tingling in the hands. God's nearness often feels like this. Not overwhelming, not dramatic, but gentle. A warmth that fills the empty spaces. A presence that settles like light around the soul. Another slow breath. Let the inhale lift the heart toward this presence. Let the exhale sink into the comfort of being held. Let the whole body rest deeper, heavier, safer. The traveler closes their eyes again, stands perfectly still, and allows the nearness to wash through them. Soft, warm, steady. A divine closeness that whispers in silence. You came toward me, and so I came toward you. I am here, right here. Stay with me in this moment. The traveler exhales, a long, trembling breath of release, a surrender to the warmth, a quiet acknowledgement of the presence now filling the room. This is the first touch of divine nearness, soft as breath, warm as firelight, certain as the love that has been waiting all along. The traveler stands in the soft glow of the lamplit room. Eyes closed. Breath slow. Heart open. The warmth of God's nearness lingers like a gentle hand resting across their shoulders. Not heavy. Not demanding. Just present. A quiet reassurance that they are no longer standing on the threshold alone. For a moment, the traveler simply breathes, allowing this warmth to settle into the deepest places of the soul, allowing it to unwind old knots of tension, allowing it to soften fears that once pressed tightly against the heart. This presence feels different from anything the traveler has known before. Not distant, not conditional, but intimate, quiet, steady. The traveler opens their eyes slowly. The room seems to glow with a deeper radiance now. Shadows softened, edges gentler. Every corner touched by a quiet light that does not come from the lantern alone. It is as though something within the traveler has awakened, and that awakening allows them to see the world differently, more tenderly, more sacredly. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the inhale fill the chest like warm air rising through a clay vessel. Let the exhale fall slowly, releasing any last thread of worry clinging to the mind. Feel the air move in smooth waves. Feel the heart slow into a restful rhythm. Another slow breath. Soft. Grounded. The traveler steps closer to the wooden table. A faint glow rests over the simple clay cup sitting there. The cup is empty, yet it feels significant. A symbol of the heart's openness. Its readiness to receive whatever God will pour. Whatever peace. Whatever comfort. Whatever closeness the soul has longed for. Beside the cup lies a folded cloth, worn at the edges from years of gentle use. A sign of care, of service, of a place where hospitality has been practiced again and again. The traveler touches the cloth lightly, and feels the warmth of the room pulse softly beneath their fingertips. A reminder that drawing near to God is not a distant pursuit. It is the opening of the inner door. The quiet movement of the soul that says, "Come in. I am ready for you." In the quiet bedroom, the listener's breath eases into an even slower rhythm. The heart feels warm, the body heavy with comfort. This is the moment when inward doors begin to open. Not forced, not rushed, simply eased open by the softness of divine presence. The soul becomes receptive, ready, welcoming. Another slow breath. Let the inhale soften the place behind the sternum. Let the exhale melt tension from the belly. Let the whole body shift into deeper openness. Like a door quietly unlocking from the inside. The traveler sits on the woven mat once more. This time not kneeling, but resting with legs folded gently beneath them. Hands placed loosely over the heart. Eyes half closed. Breath steady. This posture feels like an opening, a surrender, not of control, but of distance. A gesture that says to God, "My heart is open now. Come near in whatever way you choose." The warmth in the room intensifies just a little. Not overwhelming, but noticeable. The air feels thicker, richer, filled with quiet presence. The lantern's flame flickers as though stirred by an unseen breath. A hush flows through the room. A sacred quiet. The kind that fills spaces where heaven draws near. The traveler feels it first in the chest. A soft pressure. Gentle. Steady. As though a loving presence has moved closer, close enough to touch the heart without touching the flesh. Close enough to be felt in breath and stillness. A warmth spreads outward. Into the shoulders. The arms. The fingertips. Down into the belly. Settling into the spine. A peaceful weight. A holy nearness. In the room where the listener rests. The same soft shift unfolds. A sense of warmth rising from within. A grounding peace spreading along the limbs. A quiet awareness that God is not far. Not outside. But near. Inside the breath. Inside the stillness. Inside the softness gathering behind the heart. Another slow breath. Let the inhale draw that warmth inward. Let the exhale deepen surrender. Let the breath become the hinge on which the inner door opens wider and wider. The traveler lowers their chin slightly. A gesture of humility. Of reverence. Of being fully present with the one who is now undeniably near. The room feels sacred. Charged with gentle love. As though heaven has leaned close enough to wrap itself around the traveler like a warm cloak. This is the door that opens from the inside. The door that only the heart can unlock. Not through effort. Not through ritual. But through softness. Honesty. Willingness. And once opened, God draws near. Not with force, but with tenderness. With warmth. With peace flowing like slow river water through the soul. The room grows even quieter as the traveler rests on the woven mat, breath slow, eyes softened, heart open like a small door gently pushed ajar. The warmth in the air deepens, becoming something almost tangible, not a blaze, not a startling light, but a soft, steady radiance, a closeness that settles into the very atmosphere, the kind of nearness that makes the soul realize it is no longer waiting, it is no longer reaching, God is here. Not approaching, not distant, here. Presence fills the room the way dawn fills the horizon, slow, gentle, inevitable. It spreads without force, without noise, flowing into every corner, every shadow, every quiet place where fear once rested. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the inhale rise like warm light slowly illuminating a quiet hillside. Let the exhale fall like a long, peaceful sigh that leaves the heart lighter. Feel the breath soften the chest. Feel warmth gather beneath the sternum. Feel the soul lean inward toward the presence already. Drawing close, another slow breath, deeper, quieter. The traveler does not speak. Words feel unnecessary here, inadequate for the tenderness filling the space. Their hands rest gently against the heart, and with each heartbeat, The warmth grows, a gentle pulsing heat, as though the very presence of God is synchronizing with the traveler's breath, filling the body with calm, filling the mind with stillness, filling the soul with a quiet joy that borders on tears. God draws near like this, softly, lovingly, meeting the heart not with demands, but with tenderness, with nearness that feels like being wrapped in a warm blanket after a long cold journey, with a peace that settles into the spaces worry once filled. In the quiet room where the listener rests, this nearness begins to echo. The breath deepens, the limbs grow warmer, heavier, safe, the chest loosens, the heart feels touched by something gentle and sacred. This is not imagination. This is what it feels like when God comes close enough to rest beside the soul, close enough to quiet the noise inside, close enough for peace to rise like warm water filling a still pool. Another slow breath. Let the inhale draw in the warmth pressing gently against the heart. Let the exhale release even the softest remnants of tension from the body. Let the nearness become real, tangible, comforting. The traveler lifts their head slightly, eyes closed, but sensing more clearly than sight could ever show. The presence around them deepens, settles, feels almost like a gentle arm placed across their back, or a tender hand resting on the crown of the head, not heavy, just steady, a touch without touch, a closeness without boundary. A single tear slips quietly from the traveler's eye, falling onto their hand, not from sorrow, but from the simple, overwhelming relief of being met, being noticed, being cared for, being loved without condition, loved without effort, loved simply because they turned their heart toward God, and God turned toward them in return. In the listener's quiet space, a similar tremble of emotion may rise, a warmth in the chest, a soft pressure behind the eyes, a sense that something holy is happening within, something gentle, something tender, something real. Another slow breath. Let the inhale draw God's nearness deeper. Let the exhale melt what still feels guarded. Let the heart settle into the soft cradle of divine presence. The traveler bows their head fully now, shoulders relaxed, hands resting open, a posture of surrender, of receiving, of resting in the one who has drawn near without hesitation, without judgment, without delay. The warmth in the room steadies, becomes constant, becomes home. It surrounds the traveler like an embrace, not holding tightly, but completely, a presence that whispers without words. I am here, you came toward me, and I have come toward you. Rest in my nearness, rest in my peace, rest in my love. In the quiet room where the listener lies, this whisper feels close, feels personal, feels like a truth settling deep into the soul. That God does not meet perfection. He meets honesty, he meets longing, he meets openness, and when the heart draws near even a little, he draws near completely. Another slow breath. Let the inhale fill the chest with warmth. Let the exhale sink the body deeper into rest. Feel the nearness now, soft, warm, steady, holding. This is the moment God draws near, not in thunder, not in spectacle, but in gentle presence, in holy warmth, in quiet love that fills the room like lamplight at dusk, a love that asks nothing more than this: stay with me, rest with me, let your heart be still in my nearness. The warmth in the small lamplit room settles deeper now, not fading, not drifting away, but rooting itself gently in the space around the traveler, filling the air with a quiet, sacred weight, a softness that feels like being wrapped in a gentle embrace, a nearness that needs no words, only stillness. The traveler remains bowed slightly, hands resting open over the heart, breath moving slowly, steadily, as if the body has surrendered fully to the warmth, as if the soul has finally found the place it has been longing for, a place not defined by walls or light or fire, but by presence, holy, tender, near. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the inhale rise like warm light gently filling an empty room. Hold it for just a moment at the top, Then let the exhale fall long, soft, unbroken. Feel the heart loosen. Feel the mind quiet. Feel the soul sink deeper into this calm. Another slow breath, deeper still. The traveler lifts their gaze slightly, eyes opening just enough to see the flicker of the hearth's glow. The fire burns slowly, its flame steady and low, casting soft waves of amber across the clay floor. The light seems to pulse in rhythm with the traveler's breath, as though creation itself is joining this moment of quiet communion, as though God's nearness has settled into every element of the room. The walls, the air, the floor, the warmth. A gentle hush blankets the space, so deep it feels almost like time itself has paused, waiting, holding, breathing with the traveler. In the room where the listener rests, a similar stillness begins to settle. Breath deepens, muscles soften, the body grows heavier against the comfort beneath it. This is not ordinary quiet. This is a sacred silence, a silence shaped by presence, a silence that carries peace like water carries reflection. Soft, steady, calming. Another slow breath. Let the inhale draw in that sacred quiet. Let the exhale soften everything within. Let the breath become a resting place, a gentle landing, a place where God meets the soul without tension, without striving, without fear. The traveler closes their eyes again, and for a moment, senses movement in the stillness. Not footsteps, not sound, but presence, drawing even closer, settling over their shoulders, near their back, around their heart, like a soft cloak placed gently over someone shivering in the cold. A presence that feels almost like an embrace, full of tenderness, full of peace, full of love too. Deep to measure. This is what happens when the heart opens, when longing becomes honesty, when honesty becomes surrender. God fills the space the heart makes for him, not partially, but completely, fully, lovingly. The traveler's breath catches softly, not in fear, but in awe. A single tear slips down their cheek, tracing a warm path along the skin, falling onto the woven mat below. Not a tear of pain, a tear of recognition, a tear of being met by something so gentle, so intimate, so near, that the heart cannot help but respond. In the quiet bedroom, a similar stirring may rise, a warmth blooming through the chest, a soft pressure behind the eyes, a sense of being held in a way deeper than physical touch, a recognition that God is here, closer than breath, closer than thought, closer than memory, here. Another slow breath. Let the inhale rise like a wave of warmth. Let the exhale fall like a soft release of everything the heart once carried alone. Let each breath open the soul wider, gentler, deeper. The traveler sits fully upright now, hands still resting over the heart, but the posture has changed. It is no longer one of reaching. It is one of receiving, of resting, of being held by the nearness of God. The warmth around them feels like arms drawing close, like a quiet presence leaning in, like love, pressing softly against the edges of the soul. God draws near not with force, but with tenderness, with warmth that fills the cracks where fear once lived, with peace that settles into places where worry once tightened, with love that enters softly enough to be felt, yet strong enough to steady the trembling heart. The traveler breathes, deeply, slowly, lightly trembling beneath the weight of gentle love, and the room glows with a quiet holiness, a sacred stillness only felt when the Creator draws close, enough to touch the soul. The warmth in the room deepens into something even more tender, not heavier, not brighter, just closer, a nearness that wraps itself softly around the traveler like a quiet embrace, a presence that fills every breath, every heartbeat, every small space where loneliness once lived. This is not the nearness of someone arriving. This is the nearness of someone who was always here, now finally felt, finally recognized, finally welcomed. The traveler stays seated on the woven mat, hands resting gently over the heart, eyes half closed, breath slow and deep, as warmth gathers across the chest in soft waves, rising, falling, a gentle rhythm that seems to come not from the body, but from the one who now surrounds them. The room is still, so still it feels hallowed, sacred, a place transformed by presence, a sanctuary not built by hands, but created by openness, by longing, by a heart that dared to draw near. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the inhale rise like soft wind moving through tall grass at dusk. Let the exhale drift, like warm air settling over a quiet valley. Feel the breath soften the belly. Feel warmth expand inside the ribs. Feel the soul sink deeper into rest. Another slow breath, gentle, unhurried. The traveler places both hands flat against the heart, not pressing, just resting, as if holding something delicate and beautiful inside, a warmth that does not flicker or fade, a presence that feels like light radiating from the deepest center of the soul. For the first time in a long time, the traveler feels completely seen, completely known, completely accepted. It is a strange and beautiful thing. How divine nearness softens what once felt rigid. How peace can seep into places where the heart never thought peace could reach. How love can enter the quiet spaces untouched by words and fill them with light. In the quiet bedroom, the listener's breath drifts slower. The chest rises and falls in smoother waves. Warmth spreads through the limbs, a heaviness that feels safe, grounded, holy. This is the beginning of being held by God's nearness, not in imagination, but in spirit, in the deep places that open only when the world grows quiet. Another slow breath. Let the inhale pull peace into the center of the chest. Let the exhale release old heaviness the heart no longer needs to carry. Feel the warmth remain, unmoving, faithful. The traveler tilts their face upward just slightly, as though leaning into the presence that now surrounds them. A soft pulse of warmth presses gently against the crown of the head, down the neck, into the shoulders, as though a tender hand hovers there, not touching, but comforting, reassuring, embracing. There is no fear in this nearness, only calm, only quiet joy, only a deep sense of belonging. The traveler did not know they still carried within them. A memory rises quietly, not of a moment, but of a truth the soul has always known, that God does not draw near because perfection has been achieved, but because the heart turned, because the soul whispered yes, because longing opened a small door, and God entered fully, tenderly, lovingly. The traveler exudes a soft, trembling breath, the kind that comes when a soul realizes it is no longer alone, no longer wandering, no longer separated by the quiet distances created by worry or distraction. God is here, fully, completely, nearer than breath, nearer than thought, nearer than the traveler ever imagined possible. In the listener's quiet room, this same truth settles gently like dust in sunlight, a recognition, a quiet inward knowing, that the distance once felt was never real. It was the fog of tiredness, the weight of hurry, the ache of longing itself, now lifted, cleared, touched by warmth. Another slow breath. Let the inhale draw that warmth deep into the ribs. Let the exhale sink the body further into comfort. Feel the stillness become soft shelter. Feel the soul feel held. The traveler lowers their chin, breath steady, heart full. A quiet joy begins to glow inside. Not loud, not overwhelming, just warm, deep, steady. A sense that something sacred has begun, something healing, something renewing. God's nearness is no longer a hope, it is a reality. A gentle presence that now sits beside the traveler, within the traveler, around the traveler. A love that fills the quiet room like water fills a waiting cup. This is the moment when nearness becomes union, when distance becomes closeness, when longing becomes communion, when the heart begins to truly rest. The warmth in the small room deepens into something steady, whole, unbroken. a presence that lingers not only around the traveler, but within them, not separate, not distant, but intertwined with breath, with heartbeat, with the quiet rhythm of simply being. The traveler sits motionless on the woven mat, eyes closed once more, hands still resting gently over the heart, but the feeling inside has shifted. What began as longing, what moved into openness, what softened into surrender, has now become union, a nearness so complete it feels like gentle light shining from within the ribs, the kind of nearness that does not visit, it stays. Take a slow deep breath. Let the inhale rise warm and full, gently expanding the space behind the heart. Let the exhale drift like soft mist rolling over quiet hills. Feel the breath deepen. Feel the body grow heavier. Feel the soul settle further into this tender nearness. Another slow breath, warm, unhurried. The traveler senses the presence surrounding them like a soft embrace, a closeness that wraps around the shoulders, moves along the back, rests near the heart, a presence that says nothing in words, yet speaks endlessly in comfort, in peace, in love that flows quietly through every silent moment. The flame in the hearth flickers gently, casting slow waves of amber across the walls. The light seems to sway in harmony with the traveler's breath, as if the fire itself feels the presence in the room, as if creation joins the quiet celebration of a soul reunited with God. In the listener's quiet space, a similar glow begins to form within, a warm pulse at the center of the chest, a loosening behind the ribs, a feeling of peaceful fullness, as though something sacred is expanding, softening, settling deeper. This is the quiet revelation of nearness, a holy warmth awakening gently inside the heart. Another slow breath. Let the inhale draw in the sweetness of this moment. Let the exhale melt any last traces of fear. Feel the breath cradle the soul in peace. The traveler gently lowers their hands from the heart, letting them rest softly on their lap. There is no longer fear of losing the closeness, because it is now inside, not a fleeting touch, but a steady presence, a warmth that pulses from deep within, a quiet assurance that God is no longer felt only near, but within, interwoven with the soul itself. The traveler lifts their face slightly, and although their eyes remain closed, a soft smile appears, not bright, not wide, just enough to reveal the relief of being held, the joy of being known, the peace of finally resting in God's embrace. The room feels full, not crowded, but complete. Every breath is shared with the Holy One. Every beat of the heart seems answered by a gentle resonance in the air. The divide between heaven and earth feels thin, barely a veil, barely a breath, barely anything at all. In the quiet bedroom, the listener may feel this too. A sense that God is not far above, not far away, but right here, in the calm, in the warmth, in the breath, in the stillness that holds everything tenderly in place. Another slow breath. Let it rise like morning light across still water. Let it fall like dusk settling over a peaceful field. Let the breath become the soft bridge between the heart and the divine. The traveler feels the presence shift slightly, drawing even closer, like a warm current of air moving around them, settling across the shoulders, flowing gently into the chest. A nearness that feels like a whisper without sound, a whisper that says, I am here, I am near, I have always been near. Tears gather again behind the traveler's closed eyes, not from sorrow, but from the depth of comfort, from the sweet recognition that God meets the soul precisely where it is, without condition, without hesitation, with a love that fills the entire room like fragrant oil poured gently over the heart. In the listener's space, a similar tenderness unfolds, a quiet melting of the inner walls, a softening that comes only from divine gentleness, a peace that arrives like slow rain falling over thirsty ground. Another slow breath. Let the inhale fill the belly with warmth. Let the exhale loosen the spine into deeper rest. Feel the divine nearness holding everything in place, safe, warm, steady. This is the quiet revelation, the moment the traveler realizes that God is not merely near, God is with them, within them, in every breath, in every quiet beat of the heart, here, now, completely, lovingly, faithfully. The warmth that fills the room settles into an even deeper stillness, a presence no longer moving closer, because it is already here, already woven into breath, already resting within the traveler's heart like a soft flame, steady and sure. This is not the beginning of nearness. This is nearness fulfilled, a moment when the soul realizes it is held completely, not partially, not conditionally, but wholly, gently, eternally. The traveler sits quietly, body relaxed, hands resting open on their lap, their chest. Rises and falls with slow, peaceful breaths. Every inhale draws warmth deeper. Every exhale releases the remnants of distance. Fear, restlessness, all slipping away like mist fading under morning light. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the inhale rise like soft glow spreading across a quiet horizon. Let the exhale drift like warm air exhaled from a resting earth. Feel the heart expand gently. Feel the body grow heavier. Feel the soul sink into this moment with full trust. Another slow breath. Deep, steady. The traveler opens their eyes very slowly, just enough to see the soft shimmer of lamplight across the room. Everything appears touched by a quiet radiance, as though the air itself glows faintly, as though the walls, the floor, the small table, the hearth, have all been wrapped in the same gentle presence that now fills the traveler's chest. It is a strange and beautiful softness, the kind that makes the world feel warmer, safer, more whole, as though God's nearness has smoothed all sharp edges, quieted all inner noise, filled the spaces that once felt empty. In the listener's quiet room, a similar feeling begins to settle, breath deepens, thoughts drift slower, the body grows still. This is the descent of divine peace, a peace that doesn't arrive with force, but with gentleness, a peace that feels like lying beneath a warm blanket after a long journey, a peace that asks nothing, demands nothing, simply holds. Another slow breath. Let the inhale gather the warmth around the heart. Let the exhale soften the mind into deeper calm. Let the breath become a quiet sanctuary. The traveler places a hand over the center of the chest again, but this time, there is no ache, no longing, no sense of searching, only fullness, only warmth, only peace. The heart feels like a lamp newly lit, glowing gently from within, steady, sure, a sign of God's presence resting well inside the soul. The traveler leans back slightly, allowing the spine to relax, allowing the body to rest fully in the warm circle of firelight, their eyes close again. Not out of tiredness, but out of reverence, a quiet awareness that this moment is holy, a moment where heaven feels close enough to touch, close enough to breathe, close enough to hold. Warmth gathers along the traveler's shoulders, not heavy, just comforting, a presence leaning in with gentle love, a presence that says without words, stay, rest, be with me here, in the quiet bedroom. The listener feels this too, a tenderness pressing gently on the edges of the heart, a warmth gathering behind the ribs, a quiet whisper rising from within, not spoken aloud, but understood. You are not alone. You have never been alone. Another slow breath. Let the inhale fill the lungs with deep warmth. Let the exhale melt into the bed beneath you. Feel the divine nearness cradle your heart. The traveler lets their breathing sink with the soft crackle of the hearth, each breath slow, soft, rhythmic, like two heartbeats, one human, one divine, moving gently together. The boundary between the traveler's breath and God's peace begins to blur, becomes one quiet rhythm, one steady stillness, one shared moment of holy closeness. A gentle settling occurs in the traveler's soul, a quiet understanding, a sacred awareness that something has shifted permanently, This is not a fleeting touch, not a moment that will vanish. This closeness has become part of them, a place the soul can return to again and again, a warmth that does not depend on effort, but on openness, on honesty, on quiet surrender. In the listener's heart, this truth settles softly as well, a recognition that God's nearness is not rare, not fragile, not distant. It is here, waiting in stillness, living in breath, dwelling in the quiet center of the soul. Another slow breath. Let it rise like hope. Let it fall like peace. Feel the depth of divine closeness holding your entire being. This is the quiet turning point, the moment the traveler realizes they are no longer seeking God. They are resting in God, being held by God, surrounded by love so gentle, so patient, so near, that the soul cannot help but soften completely. The warmth in the room settles into a deeper stillness, a softness so complete it feels as though even the air is resting, as though time has slowed to match the gentle rhythm of the traveler's breath. The presence of God does not fade, does not retreat. It simply becomes quieter, more intimate, more woven into the very atmosphere of the heart. The traveler remains seated on the woven mat, eyes closed, hands resting loosely at their sides. Their posture no longer reaching or yearning, just resting, held, fully at peace. The small hearth glows softly, its flame smaller now, but steady, casting a warm shimmer over the clay floor. The shadows it creates are soft, without edge, as though even the darkness has surrendered to calm, as though the entire room is breathing with them. Slow, quiet, tender. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the inhale rise like warm water filling a gentle basin. Let the exhale fall like dusk settling slowly over quiet hills. Feel the breath deepen. Feel the limbs grow heavier. Feel the heart soften into deeper rest. Another slow breath. Longer, quieter. In this stillness, something beautiful begins to unfold inside the traveler. A sense of being enveloped, not by the room, not by the fire, but by presence itself, a divine nearness that now settles like a cloak across their shoulders, soft, warm, familiar, a nearness that feels like resting under the shadow of gentle wings, a shelter, a covering, a quiet refuge. The traveler's breathing slows further, becoming less intentional, more natural, more relaxed, as though the body has finally recognized it is safe to rest, safe to be still, safe to yield fully into the warmth surrounding it. In the quiet bedroom, the listener's body mirrors this descent into rest. Breath deepens, muscles loosen, thoughts slow into a soft, drifting quiet. This is the beginning of deep surrender, a surrender not of fear, but of peace, a letting go that feels like sinking gently into warm water, cradled, supported, embraced. Another slow breath. Let the inhale pull warmth deeper into the belly. Let the exhale dissolve the last thin edges of tension around the heart. Let the soul drift a little nearer to sleep, a little nearer to peace, a little nearer to God. The traveler lowers themselves even more, leaning back until their hands rest on the mat behind them, head tilted slightly upward. They open their eyes just a moment, and the lamplit room appears wrapped in golden stillness, as though everything is resting under the same gentle presence that holds them. The flame in the hearth flickers softly. A small ember glows red, then dims, then glows again. This rhythm seems to echo the traveler's breath, soft, slow, peaceful, and as the fire quiets, a deeper stillness settles into the room, a stillness that feels like the world has paused, just long enough for God to hold the traveler without interruption. The traveler exhales, a long, slow breath, the kind that sinks the body deeper into peace, the kind that softens the heart into complete surrender, the kind that whispers without sound, I am safe, I am held, I can rest. In the quiet bedroom, this same descent into rest begins to unfold. The body grows heavier, the breath grows slower, The heart feels wrapped in warmth. This is divine stillness, the gentle slowing of everything inside. The moment the soul leans fully into God's embrace without resistance. Another slow breath. Let the inhale rise like a small wave. Let the exhale fall like soft rain over sleeping fields. Let the breath carry you deeper into rest, deeper into calm, deeper into the quiet where God dwells. The traveler slowly lowers themselves onto the mat, resting on their side near the warmth of the hearth. A woven blanket lies folded nearby. They pull it gently over their body, feeling the fabric settle softly around them, adding another layer of warmth, another layer of comfort, another layer of peace. The presence in the room remains, close, steady, tender, a quiet guardian of the traveler's rest, a gentle promise that they are not alone, not in waking, not in stillness, not in the soft descent towards sleep. The traveler closes their eyes fully now, breath soft and rhythmic, heart steady and calm, held in the quiet embrace of God, wrapped in warmth that sinks deeper with every breath. This is the descent into stillness, where the soul stops striving, stops reaching, stops searching, and simply rests, resting in God, resting in love, resting in peace deeper than words. The blanket settles softly around the traveler, warm, gentle, comforting, its weight light enough not to burden, yet grounding enough to draw the body deeper into rest. The quiet hum of the small hearth flickers like a distant heartbeat. Soft waves of amber light drift across the walls, growing dimmer, quieter, as though the fire itself is preparing to sleep. The presence of God remains, not loud, not bright, but steady. A warm stillness filling the room like a slow, gentle tide, wrapping around the traveler. With patient tenderness, a sheltering nearness that asks for nothing, expects nothing, only invites the soul to rest. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the inhale rise soft and warm through the center of the chest. Let the exhale fall long and unbroken, loosening every small tension left in the body. Feel the limbs grow heavy. Feel the heart grow lighter. Feel the breath drift into a quieter rhythm. Another slow breath, deeper, drifting. The traveler lies curled on the woven mat, eyes closed, breath shallow but peaceful. The warmth of the blanket and the nearness of God create a cocoon of calm, a protective hush that settles around their body like a gentle shield. Nothing harsh can enter here, nothing loud, nothing that stirs fear or worry. Only peace, only quiet, only the soft awareness of being held. The traveler's thoughts begin to drift, not in confusion, but in the natural ebb of a soul releasing the weight of the day. Images fade. Memories quiet. Words dissolve into soft silence. What remains is only warmth, only stillness, only the slow rhythm of breath and presence intertwined in the listener's quiet room. The same soft descent begins, breath growing slower, muscles releasing their final grip, the body sinking deeper into comfort. This is the place just before sleep, where consciousness softens, where thoughts become light, where the heart rests in something greater than itself, something gentle, something holy. Another slow breath. Let the inhale rise like mist lifting from a calm lake at dawn. Let the exhale drift like soft night wind moving through tall grass. Let the breath guide the body into deeper stillness. Let the mind loosen its hold. The traveler shifts slightly beneath the blanket, a small movement, barely noticeable, but enough to deepen the feeling of being held. The warmth around them does not change, does not fade. If anything, it feels even closer now, as though God has leaned quietly toward them, drawing near enough to cradle the heart, near enough to protect the fragile descent into rest. The hearth's flame lowers to a soft glow, barely flickering, barely audible, just a single warm ember glowing in the dimness, a small light, steady, comforting, mirroring the quiet flame of divine presence resting inside the traveler's soul. There is no need for words, no need for thought. The traveler drifts between wakefulness and sleep, held in a liminal place where peace thickens around them like warm night air, where the soul recognizes rest as something sacred, a gift, a blessing, a gentle meeting point between God and the weary heart. In the listener's space, the same sacred drift begins to unfold, breath slower, body heavier, mind softened into cloud-like quiet. This is the place where surrender deepens, where the heart lets go of the last remnants of the day, where divine presence feels close enough to embrace another slow breath. Let the inhale expand the chest softly. Let the exhale melt away the thin veil between rest and sleep. Let the body grow warm, still, peaceful. The traveler's mind slips further, thoughts unraveling into soft, shapeless peace. A gentle floating sensation moves through the body, as though the mat beneath them has softened into cloud, as though they are being lifted and held in unseen arms. The presence of God wraps around them fully now, a tender cocoon, a quiet cradle, a holy shelter. This is the deepening into stillness, where the soul rests without effort, where the body releases its last defenses, where the nearness of God becomes the soft ground beneath the traveler's dreams. The room drifts into a deeper hush, a stillness so complete it feels as though even the fire has begun to breathe softly. Quiet ember-like pulses in a slow, steady rhythm, fading and brightening like a heartbeat at rest. The warmth of God's presence wraps fully around the traveler now, no longer beside them, no longer near them, but enveloping them, holding them as gently as a parent cradles a sleeping child. The traveler's breath grows soft, barely rising, barely falling, each inhale a whisper, each exhale a tender release. The body is heavy with calm, the mind loosened from thought, the heart floating gently in the warmth that surrounds it. This is not simply rest, this is surrender, a deep, quiet yielding into the hands of God. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the inhale drift slowly into the chest like warm mist settling over a still pond. Let the exhale fall long, soft, dissolving into the silence around you. Feel the shoulders melt. Feel the arms grow heavier. Feel the heart soften into near sleep. Another slow breath, barely a whisper now. The blanket around the traveler feels weightless, warm as sunlit fabric, light as a gentle breeze across the face. Every thread seems woven with quiet comfort, as though peace itself has settled into the fibers, as though stillness has become a garment, wrapped around the traveler with love. The small ember in the hearth dimly glows, its soft reddish light flickering across the floor in slow, quiet waves. No fire crackle now, only the faintest warmth rising from the coals, a warmth that matches the one growing deep within the traveler's chest, a warm glow that pulses in time with their slow, steady breath. It is difficult to tell where the ember's glow ends and the soul's glow begins. Both seem to breathe together, softly, silently, in harmony, in the listener's quiet room. This same descent begins to settle, breath slowing, limbs sinking deeper into stillness, the edges of the body growing warm and soft, the mind drifting just above sleep. This is divine rest, a rest that enters without effort, a rest that holds the heart gently, a rest that welcomes sleep like a blessing whispered over the soul. Another soft breath. Let the inhale be effortless. Let the exhale feel like the final unwinding of the day. Let the body surrender to the quiet that holds it. The traveler shifts slightly beneath the blanket, a small, unconscious movement, the kind that happens when the body has yielded to comfort so fully that it drifts without resistance. The presence of God leans even closer, not moving, not changing, just deepening, becoming the very atmosphere the traveler breathes, a soft, sacred nearness that feels like being rocked gently in unseen arms. The walls of the room fade into soft blur, the edges of the mat soften, the warmth of the hearth merges with the warmth in the traveler's chest. Everything blends into a single field of deep, velvety calm. The traveler is suspended in a quiet unlike anything they have ever known, a quiet that holds that comforts, that whispers without sound. Rest, rest deeper, rest in me. In the listener's space, the same holy quiet begins to cradle the body. Thoughts drift away like petals floating down a slow river. Breath moves in gentle waves. Sleep edges closer, not with force, but as a soft invitation, a gentle descent into God's peace. Another slow breath. Let the inhale drift like warm wind over a sleeping field. Let the exhale sink like dusk falling over silent hills. Let the breath guide you deeper into the quiet between waking and sleep. The traveler's consciousness hovers between worlds now, half aware of the blanket's warmth, half lost in the soft pull of sleep, held fully by divine presence, resting in a shelter deeper than any physical room, a shelter made of love, of gentleness, of God's soft and steady nearness. This is the moment the traveler drifts from wakefulness into rest, from longing into peace, from seeking into surrender, a sacred descent into the quiet heart of God. The ember in the hearth glows faintly, a soft red heartbeat in the dimness. Its warmth drifts gently across the quiet room, barely perceptible, yet steady enough to feel like a whispered blessing. The traveler lies wrapped in a woven blanket, their breath slow and light, their body fully surrendered to rest. Only the gentle rise and fall of the chest shows they are awake at all, hovering in that sacred space between consciousness and sleep. The presence of God settles deeper still, not as movement, not as sensation, but as a quiet fullness, a warmth beneath the traveler's ribs, a peaceful weight over the shoulders, a soft shelter cupping the soul like gentle hands. There is no distance left, no longing, no ache for closeness, only union, only peace, only the calm certainty of being held. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the inhale drift like warm air rising from sunlit stone. Let the exhale fall like a soft sigh into quiet earth. Feel the breath settle low in the belly. Feel the limbs heavy with comfort. Feel the mind softening into gentle haze. Another slow breath, warm, dissolving. The traveler's thoughts are faint now, soft clouds drifting across a twilight sky, barely forming before they fade, each thought replaced not by another, but by calm, by warmth, by the steady presence that holds the heart in quiet embrace. Even the small sensations of the room begin to blur. The faint glow of the hearth, the cool clay floor beyond the blanket, the gentle whisper of wind outside the door, all dissolve into a single field of peace, a soft backdrop for the deeper rest rising within the traveler's soul. In the listener's quiet room, this same peace begins to settle, breath softening into effortless rhythm, body sinking deeper into comfort, mind drifting like gentle mist, a warmth gathering behind the heart, a tenderness that feels like being watched over, protected, cherished. This is the peace God brings when the soul has surrendered its weight, when the heart has opened fully, when presence fills every quiet space. Another slow breath. Let the inhale be soft as lamplight. Let the exhale melt into the bed beneath you. Let the breath cradle the body. Let the soul drift closer towards sleep. The traveler shifts only slightly beneath the blanket, a tiny movement of comfort, the kind that comes when rest has fully taken hold. The presence around them responds not with change, but with gentle steadiness, a quiet assurance that nothing can disturb this peace, nothing can reach through it, nothing can pull the traveler away from the embrace now holding them. In their drifting consciousness, the traveler becomes lightly aware of a soft glow rising from within, not bright, not visible to the eye, but felt, a warmth that seems to radiate from the very center of their soul, growing slowly, expanding gently, filling the chest with a sense of light, a quiet joy, a peace that feels eternal. It is the glow of being known, the warmth of being loved, the tenderness of being near to God, so near, so gently held, that even sleep feels like an act of worship, a surrender into divine care. In the listener's room, a similar glow may rise quietly, a warmth behind the ribs, a softness spreading through the limbs, a peace deeper than thought, a calm that prepares the soul for deep rest. This is God's presence settling over the heart like a soft blanket, inviting sleep as a holy gift, a quiet communion of rest and peace. Another slow breath. Let the inhale gather the warmth beneath the ribs. Let the exhale deepen your rest. Let the body sink heavier. Let the mind drift freer. The traveler's awareness continues to soften. Their breathing now the gentle rhythm of someone cradled in perfect safety. The warmth of God envelops them completely, like a soft shelter, a sacred cocoon, a place where no fear can enter, no worry can survive, only peace, only rest, only the presence of the one who holds them. This is the beginning of peaceful closure, where the soul prepares to sleep deeply, wrapped in the nearness of God, held in love that does not fade with the night. The ember in the hearth glows one final time, a soft pulse of warmth, a gentle farewell to wakefulness. Before settling into a quiet, steady shimmer, the room grows still, so still it feels as though the entire world has bowed its head in silence, honoring the sacred rest unfolding within the traveler's soul. The traveler lies curled beneath the blanket, breath slow and barely audible, body warm, heavy, peaceful, mind drifting into the soft embrace of sleep. But before sleep takes them fully, something tender rises from within, a quiet gratitude, a deep, shimmering peace, a sense of being wrapped completely in God's nearness, held in a love that surrounds them like gentle light. Take a slow, gentle breath. Let the inhale rise soft and low, filling the heart with warmth. Let the exhale fall long and unbroken, as though the breath itself is dissolving into peace. Feel the lungs soften, feel the shoulders melt, feel the soul settle deeper into rest. Another slow breath, softer, sleep-bound. Peace drapes over the traveler like an unseen blanket, a holy quiet that touches every corner of the room, the walls, the floor, the small table and folded cloth, all wrapped in the same warm stillness that holds the traveler's heart. Nothing moves, nothing stirs. Even the soft night wind outside quiets itself, as if not to disturb the sacred sleep blooming in the room. The traveler's final conscious thoughts drift like feathers on still water, not shaped words, not formed ideas, just sensations, warmth, nearness, love, and a deep trust that whispers through the soul. God is here. God is with me. God is holding me. In the listener's quiet room, the same closure begins to unfold, breath slowing into the rhythm of sleep, eyes becoming heavy, thoughts fading into soft shapes, the body wrapped in gentle calm, the heart resting in a tenderness that feels both ancient and immediate, the kind of peace that only comes when one has felt God draw near, not as idea, not as memory, but as presence, soft, warm, steady, a presence that stays through the night. Another slow breath. Let the inhale be small, easy, effortless. Let the exhale melt the last thread of wakefulness. Let the body sink deeper. Let the mind drift further. Let the soul rest fully in the stillness that now holds it. The traveler's breathing grows even slower, gentler, the kind of breathing only found in deep rest. The presence of God remains, woven into every rise and fall, a divine nearness that rests upon them like soft wings, like a warm hand over the heart, like a quiet whisper spoken not into the room, but into the very center of the soul. Sleep begins to take the traveler completely, not sudden, not abrupt, but like the slow dimming of lamplight, a peaceful surrender into the safety of God's embrace. Dreams approach softly, carried on currents of warmth and comfort. Every part of the traveler knows they are held, thinly aware, even as sleep overtakes them, that God has not stepped back. God has not withdrawn. God remains, watching, guarding, sheltering. Their rest, in the listener's space, the same deep rest begins to settle into the body, breath soft, steady, trailing towards sleep, a gentle heaviness spreading limbs to fingertips, the heart settling into warm stillness, the soul drifting gently into the night with God's nearness wrapped around it like a quiet promise. Another slow breath, barely more than a whisper. Let the inhale rise, let the exhale fall, let sleep come like a gentle tide. Let peace remain like soft firelight glowing beneath the ribs. The ember in the hearth holds one last glow, a reminder that even when the flame rests, warmth continues, light remains, presence lingers, and as the traveler finally drifts into deep, unbroken sleep, the entire room seems to breathe a single truth, a truth that wraps itself around them like a final blessing. You drew near to God, and God drew near to you. Now rest in His nearness, rest in His peace, rest in His unfailing love. Sleep deeply, sleep safely, sleep in the warmth of the One who holds you through the night.